Can China outplay Trump's 4D chess moves, or do they have a secret trump card, no pun intended, of their own to topple the US dollar's dominance? It's on, baby. Trump's 145% tariffs on China are stinging, but China is hitting back hard, slapping counter tariffs, dumping US treasuries like hot potatoes, bond yields are soaring, the dollar's wobbling, division across the globe. But what if this is all just a sneaky US trap to crash the yuan, just like what happened to the British pound back in the 1990s? This financial showdown could tank our portfolios and our retirement accounts. So stick around as we unpack this wild financial showdown, this game of ultimate economic tariff brinksmanship, as we hunt for a way to survive the chaos. Now, unless you've been off the grid, living under a rock this last couple of months, you probably would have known that Trump has been playing a very interesting game recently with the entire world. Basically, a high-stakes game of chicken with the entire global economy as he launches tariffs against everybody, particularly against China. It seems like the real target, of course, as time goes by, is, of course, itself China, the second biggest economy in the world. Think about it. It's America's #1 geopolitical competitor, and they're going for the kill shot. Trump seems to be hell-bent on making sure that the closest rival will not be able to catch up to the USA, and that the USA remains the most dominant, influential global superpower. But we should not underestimate China, or China's resolve, or China's ability to eat shit for an extended period of time. The Asian superpowers existed for 5,000 years. These are the guys who wrote the Art of War, old Sun Tzu there back in the day. Trump hitting China with 145% tariffs. China reciprocated 125% tariffs. Tit-for-tat salvos of tariffs are just the beginning. There's been restrictions on all kinds of stuff, from rare earth metals to Boeing planes to NVIDIA chips. At the time of recording, Trump has upped the ante to 245%, but that's only for like syringes and a couple other very specific things, not the entire situation. China has already filed a complaint with the World Trade Organization, banned 18 US companies, told their billionaires not to invest in America, again, restricted rare earth mineral exports and other things, all of which could hit the US hard, especially in defense, tech, and EV manufacturing. But here's the big gun: selling off American treasuries. By late 2024, China's holdings of U.S. debt had already dropped quite a bit, all the way down to $760 billion, the lowest since 2009. China's been quietly pulling back for years, selling treasuries, buying gold. But now we're in full-on fire sale mode. Forget the stock market wild swings. This isn't where the real action is. Now, how does China's treasury sell-off hurt the USA? Well, when China sells treasuries, it's not a little jab, it's a loaded right hook to the US economy. The United States is already drowning in $36.7 trillion of debt in 2025. The interest payments estimated to be $1 trillion this year alone. Now, this move could send borrowing costs soaring higher, exactly at a time when they're trying to get those rates down. Now, here's how it all works. Bonds have a face value, a fixed interest, or a coupon, and a yield. The percentage return based on the bond's market price. So take a bond with a $1,000 face value and a $50 interest. That's a 5% yield. Now, if the price drops to $500, for example, due to China selling off, then the yield for that actually spikes to 10%. Why? Well, because of supply and demand. More sellers than buyers tanks the price, pushing yields up. Higher yields means the United States pays more to borrow. A disaster of $36.7 trillion in debt and a debt to GDP ratio of 122%, which basically no other country can really survive except for the USA, because it's the global hegemon and prints the global reserve currency. Rising interest rates could trigger a deleveraging crisis. Think price your mortgages, car loans, squeezed economy, etc. The dollar's role as the world's reserve currency, therefore, is at risk if borrowing costs continue to spiral, thus shaking global confidence as well in the US dollar and in US debt instruments. Selling US treasuries is also about defending the Chinese yuan. Selling treasuries allows China to convert dollars into yuan, of course, which creates a demand for the Chinese currency, which obviously then positively affects its value. Now, on the flip side, this weakens the dollar. Less demand for US assets basically means lower confidence in the old greenback, the US dollar itself. But the weird thing is kind of what Trump wants. Trump said he wanted a weaker US dollar. He wants that because it's easier to negotiate trade deals when the dollar's not so strong. So is it all about playing defense to tire out your opponent? Well, there's a lot of nuances here. And before we dive deeper into this topic, guys, if we are trading the markets right now, there's been a lot of money to be made. By the way, I know people get stuck in this sort of mentality, everything's bad, but actually, shit, there's been some crazy dips to short, some crazy pumps to long recently. Plenty of money to be made in 2025 if you know where to look and you know how to look at the market. But if you are going to be longing, you are going to be shorting, you need a great exchange to do that on. You want to check out BitUnix. And here's the thing, BitUnix is available to everyone everywhere. So I know some of you guys may not have a great local option available for you. BitUnix could be a great one to check out. Doesn't matter where you live, no KYC, no VPN. You can just click on the link down below, deposit some coins, and start trading. Have a good time. It's really that simple, okay? And you're going to get some sweet bonuses to sign up, $10 sign-up bonus. You can do a first trade for free, basically. You're also going to get 20% deposit bonus. You deposit $1,000, get $200 back, as well as $500 in trading bonuses. Go check it out. Link down below in the description. So, but what if China is just falling into an elaborate trap here? Enter Scott Bessent, Trump's Treasury Secretary. This financial genius has a very interesting past. Back in 1992, Bessent teamed up with George Soros, Druckenmiller, some of the most famous names in finance. Yeah, I know Soros, the guy's been involved in a lot of conspiracy theories, okay? There's that side of it. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole, okay? But back in the 1990s, the UK was locked into the European exchange rate mechanism, trying to keep the pound stable. But their economy was weak. They couldn't sustain high interest rates. Bessent, Druck, Soros, they shorted $10 billion worth of pounds, forcing the UK to devalue its currency and to exit the ERM on September 16, 1992, also known as Black Wednesday. Soros walked away with a cool extra $1 billion. Bessent, he was there. He was part of the architect of that. And he might be pulling the strings and pulling off the same move against China right now. U.S. tariffs are cornering China into a couple of brutal choices. Door number one, devalue the yuan, risk inflation, mass exodus of capital into Bitcoin, but mass exodus of capital. Door number two, what delights do we have here? Defend the yuan by selling U.S. treasuries, draining dollar reserves. China currently seems to be at least looking at door number two, opening up slightly, okay? Selling those bonds to keep its currency and keep it strong. But this burns the reserves. Then you're only left with yuan. And unless a bunch of other people want that, you're kind of in a bad situation. The question is, how long can they last? Of course, this also hurts the U.S. High interest rates mean refinancing $9 trillion in maturing debt in 2025 at a steep cost, risking its own economic meltdown. The tariff uncertainty has tanked stock markets, could cause a recession or worse, destroying U.S. companies, sending unemployment skyrocketing, and all the rest of the bad shit that can possibly happen in economics. Both sides are in a high-stakes standoff, and unless things cool down soon, bad shit's going to happen. The dollar and the yuan are right now hanging in the balance. It's like a mutually assured destruction pact right now. But instead of using nukes, they're using tariffs. And they're going to use their deep pockets. Will China's treasury sales destroy the dollar, or are they just being baited into a well-orchestrated U.S. financial squeeze? Who knows? But just like in a nuclear war, nobody really wins. Both sides are cutting off their noses to spite their faces. But there will be survivors. There always is. People who will pick up the pieces and make gargantuan sums of money. So what do? Well, writing your congressman's not going to help. They never give a shit about you anyway. It's a big club and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. R.I.P. George Carlin. Great clip. Go watch it. But look, this trade war will go on whether we like it or not until the big dicks measuring contest is over. The problem with this trade war is that we don't know who will win or how long it's going to take. However, just like in a real war, having a bunker and supplies increases your chances of surviving. For us, balls deep in crypto, obviously the ultimate bunker here is Bitcoin. So while these two countries are duking it out, continuing to be in Bitcoin or pay attention to is probably not that bad of an idea. Obviously, diversifying out into some gold and real estate and stuff like that, if you have the means to, or if you already have that to hold on to those things, probably not a bad idea either. Unlike paper money, which can be used as a weapon, as inflationary, can be printed in response to crisis. Look what they did during COVID. They printed 40% more dollars. That's a gargantuan sum of money. We've been dealing with the effects of that insane decision for years. Furthermore, scarce assets like Bitcoin will probably not just survive, but thrive during economic turmoil. So there's that to consider as well. Now let me know down below what you think. What is your plan B? Y'all in on Bitcoin? You got some gold? You got some silver? You got some real estate? Let me know. Thanks for watching.